thing about this story is that the invalid man didn't even know who it was that told him to pick up his bed and walk. This could have been anybody. But when you're challenged to do something that goes against your natural ability, you can't allow excuses to be a factor for your breakthrough. I'm preaching better than y'all shout. When you are ready for change, the excuse may be there, but you have to refuse to allow the excuse to hold you back. You have to refuse to allow the negativity and the guilt of your past to hold you down. Rise up, pick up your bed. Let me tie something in here. The Apostle Paul said in his letter, I read it for you, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Whenever you find yourself in the presence of the Lord, guilt is no longer a factor. When you find yourself in the presence of the Lord, excuses are minimized. When you find yourself in the presence of the Lord, captivity is destroyed. Whenever you find yourself in the presence of the Lord, the sick get well. When you find yourself in the presence of the Lord, the mind thinks clearly. When you find yourself in the presence of the Lord, the heart becomes flesh. All I'm trying to say is when Jesus shows up, somebody say when Jesus shows up, you don't need the water to be troubled to receive your healing. But when you're in the presence of the Lord, your life shifts into a dimension of glory. The invalid man becomes valid because he is in the presence of the Lord. I ain't ready yet, Fred, but I'm coming. Just hold tight. No matter, watch this, no water was troubled. When Jesus came, he didn't trouble the water. There was no angel that showed up. But this time, somebody say this time. This time the invalid man was in the right place at the right time. The invalid man, although he had excuses of not being able to get into the pool when the water is troubled, perhaps there is something else. My God, there is something else that's much more deeper than the excuse. I didn't want you to get too happy on the man getting healed because Jesus showed up. But there is another revelation that you have to grab hold to. Watch this. After he's healed, he goes to the temple. People ask him, why was he carrying his issue or his bed on the holy day? The invalid man said, the man that healed me told me to pick up my bed and walk. That's all I know. I don't know who he was. I just know I'm healed. That's a good shouting point. But I ain't ready for you to shout yet. The invalid man is in the temple. And Jesus shows up and tells him, you are healed. I says, stop sinning or something else worse may happen. All right. Yeah, it's good to shout when we get a healing. It's good to shout when we get a day, when we get our blessing, when we get our breakthrough. That ain't the shout. Watch this. What's really interesting about this statement is the text doesn't give an indication of why this man was impotent for 38 years. It doesn't tell us what he did to get this way. But we do know he is this way, and whatever he did before, Jesus says, if you continue, something worse. Can I tell you what my spiritual imagination tells me? And here's what the spiritual imagination tells me. Oh my God, it says, all of us, catch this, And we know it's very familiar, but all of us have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Remember, in my foundation, I talked about this word guilt. The guilt of sin keeps us from going into the glory of God. Don't sleep on it. So the question is still in my mind. Why did Jesus say this to the invalid man after he healed him? After he told him to get up, pick up your bed, and walk? Why did Jesus wait until the man was in church to tell him to stop sinning, or something worse may come upon him? Well, here's what I found out. You might not find it in the Bible, but it's a revelation. Watch this. It says, because going to church only doesn't save you. Going to church only doesn't liberate you. Going to church only doesn't heal you. Going to church only doesn't eliminate excuses. Going to church only doesn't give you a new start. But what does it do? Well, getting into the presence of God is getting into his glory and going into the next dimension. My God. So Paul picked it up and he says, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is. That was your shout right there. Oh, you missed it. Let me bring it back. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And you think liberty means no longer being a slave. That's not true. But some of us are bound right now. Oh my God, you're bound in your mind. Yes. You're bound, oh my God, by sickness. You're bound by disease. You're bound by being broke. You're bound by being jobless. You're bound, my God, by depression. You're bound by disappointment. You're bound, my God. You're bound by frustration. You're bound by confusion. But where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is